You know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Me gusta la pelota.
See,
I like good baseball, buddy.
me too.
I like when freshmen star and, basically take over a game. The hostile freshman takeover yesterday.
What is it going to be like for the future when you can start building a team? I mean, there's still a lot going on this year.
Yeah. Don't be next year, Olin.
No.
I want you to be right now, Nuño.
That's right. But I'm also at the same, because I'm not mailing in this year. But in fact, we all are more optimistic about what could happen this year than ever before after last
I don't
year.
know about ever, but yes.
Well, ever before this year.
Okay, yeah.
No, but I can look and say, what if for the next 2 or 3 years, or 2 years, because it's never more than that, you're building a lineup around Nico Fertitta and Jorian Wilson. And
Boston Kellner.
Kellner, I didn't realize this till I heard him say it on TV. He's been on base.
It's like 28 out of 29
every game
games?
except one.
Yeah.
They played 35 games, I think, and he's been on base in 34 of the games.
So I'm glad you brought this up because I remember thinking, I'm the kind of person that starts looking ahead sometimes too much, as you know. I'm like, oh, man, this guy's going to leave, and then this guy's going to leave, and then what are we going to do? And I did the same thing during the Caden Sorrell, Gavin Grahovic, Jason Laviolette. Like, they were 2 different years, but like we got these 3 guys. We just lost Dylan Rock. What is it going to be like? We just lost this guy. We lost Hayden Schott. What is it going to be like, right? And what I like is not only is there a pipeline, but I know there's a future pipeline because, who recruited Nico Fertitta?
I would assume Michael Early
and his staff, right? So Boston Kellner, right? So I feel really good about what the future could look like as long as we continue to replenish. I would love some more pitching.
Yeah.
I know that's going to be a priority. I would assume it's going to be a priority this offseason. So, but now there's proof of concept that it works, right? Last year was like a TBD, like, I don't know.
There were a lot of injuries last year.
Well, I had this conversation. I'm glad you said that, Olin Buchanan. I go first name, last name sometimes. I had a conversation the other, man, what's so different about early this year? It's like different. And I go, well, yeah, some things are different. He's much more sure of himself. He's doing it his way. I remember the first year of TexAgs radio that I did. I did it my way, but it was still kind of Gabe's way. And Gabe's way works, right? But I had to figure out my voice, right? My way of doing things. And after a couple years, you start doing what you want to do, right? That's what's happening with Coach Early, right? It's his team now. But the biggest change is 2 freaking first-rounders are out of the lineup for most of the year last year.
That's right.
Do you think
it had something to do with the...
In 1988, okay? I go 88 on you because that's my year.
Okay.
If Canseco and McGuire go down for the Oakland A's, do they get swept by the Dodgers in the World Series, or do they even make the World Series?
Probably not.
No.
Of course.
Okay? But they didn't get swept, I think. They lost in 5, I think. Okay. But whatever. Maybe it was swept. Point being, you lose superstar players, you're not as good of a manager.
Yeah, you think about that team that went to the
College
World Series and almost won it, and you say, well, I know he wasn't there in the World Series, but Braden Montgomery, you take him off the team, you take Grahovic, you take Sorrell and others, and you're like Troy Claunch. Well, no wonder that, to your point.
Well, and by the way, now that we're doing that, imagine if Braden Montgomery plays. Now, we may not know the legend of Caden Kent, because I think he emerged.
What if Caden Kent and Braden Montgomery.
Well, for some reason, that coach didn't like playing Caden Kent, it felt like.
And
I felt like every time I asked about him, I got a dirty look.
So we always talk about, rightly so, we talk about Judas, but then we always say, yeah, but he is a really good coach.
Oh, he's fantastic. There's
and
no
yet,
doubt.
It just goes to show that, he makes some dumb decisions too.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about going over to Texas. I'm talking about not playing Caden Kent.
Yeah. To me, it was obvious. But he played him when it mattered, and Caden Kent.
Because he had to.
Well, sometimes that's how things happen.
Yeah.
But I guess my point is, with any coach, manager, leader, like if you lose star players or integral parts, you're not going to be as good. Now,
it's true.
They took a step back last year regardless, right? Like that, I still think there were some growing pains. The pitching staff didn't do as well as we kind of expected. Why are we talking about last year? We're talking about this year. Let's move on.
We're explaining one of the reasons why they've been much better this year.
They've been much better because I think Coach Early has grown into the job. Healthier. Coach Early's grown into the job, and they believe.
You know what? I believe too.
You believe you can fly?
No, I don't believe I can fly, but I believe
you can touch the sky.
I believe in this baseball team.
Every night and day?
Every night and day so far.
You know what I'm talking about?
I have no idea. I know it's got to be some silly song that I don't like. Justin Timberlake probably sings it.
No, it's a guy who's in prison right now.
Okay, I'm starting to like it.
I think his name is Robert Kelly.
Oh, no, I don't like
it. We might hear it on the other side. I don't even know if Spotify's banned him. It's a good song, though.
And either one that got like...
It's not talking about what he did.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about what he did.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love the score. I love that after that first inning, they said, all right, we're going to just take this game over and dominate. So congratulations to the Aggies. But
we
now...
still talk about R. Kelly. Love the score. Because when somebody writes the music, don't they call that a score?
Oh, they do call that a score, yeah. He did write the score for, what's that movie? Come on, the basketball movie, the cartoon basketball movie.
Space Jam?
Space Jam.
Michael Jordan, when he, not hurt, but when he wasn't there.
That is good.
That's his example. Brings us all the way full circle back.
Yeah.
Okay, go back.
Luka Doncic, not with the Mavs because he's at the Lakers.
They suck.
They suck. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Star players off good teams aren't as good anymore when you lose star players.
Yes.
And as you said, there's been some health scares on this team. Obviously, we'd love to have Josh Stewart, right? But healthy considering so far, right? You've got Gavin, you've got Caden, you've got a team.
So let's pray for health.
And for
if they got health, they have almost everything.
Mm-hmm.
Still need some pitch, but the pitching is getting better as they get healthier.
Magically, we said it a couple weeks ago. If we get pretty good Shane, pretty good Shane.
Yeah.
Pretty good Weston. We didn't see Weston, but
watch them keep improving, pretty good. Getting a little better every week.
Un poquitico.
Poquito.
Yeah, así, chiquitico.
Chiquitico.
There's a joke there I'm not going to go
into. A little chickadee.
Okay. Anyway, can I introduce a football topic to you?
Always. Never a bad time to talk about college football.
Brandon Marcello. You know him, right? You used to work with him, right?
Mm-hmm. No, we never worked together.
No? Okay. He
was a really heavy guy. You'll appreciate that.
Yeah.
And he lost an insane amount of weight, and he looks fit all the time now.
Fit all the time? Yeah. But nice guy.
Fit as a fiddle, and he's a nice guy.
See his predictions for every team in the SEC.
All right.
Every team.
Every team.
I don't like some of them.
Okay.
But let me just go and say this. People's opinions and predictions don't affect me. All they are is a talking point, okay? Like, it's just a point. Like, if Feinbaum thinks Arch is going to be the greatest quarterback since before Tim Tebow, it doesn't mean anything. It's just his opinion, okay?
My dad used to say, opinions are like noses. Everybody has one.
Or two. Or two nostrils. Sorry, never mind.
I said noses.
Yeah. Anyway, he believes, and let me read it exactly the way he wrote it. So, Texas A&M, the late season slide continues into 2026. He goes, there's a pretty long write-up on it, but I'll just kind of read you some parts of it. A&M seemed to put its historic season late meltdowns in the rearview mirror in 25, but then lost two straight sour 11-0 record with the first round exit in the CFP. The feeling here is the Aggies revert to the mean after some close calls in 25 and end the season with 8 or 9 wins, a record that's been synonymous with the Aggies since the end of the John E. Manziel era. Marcel is fantastic, but disappeared in those late back-to-back losses last fall. The schedule is brutal this year, too, with road trips to LSU, Alabama, South Carolina, Missouri, and Oklahoma. A couple things about that.
Yeah.
If they win 9 games with that schedule, I'm probably going to be happy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be, like, elated.
You're knocking on the door of the playoff with 9 wins.
Yeah.
You're probably
9-game SEC schedule, too.
Yeah, you're probably not getting in with 9 wins, but you're going into the last game of the season with a chance to get in, probably.
Right.
So, I would not say today that I'd take 9-win season. I wouldn't say that because I think they're going to be very similar to what they were last year. But I don't think 9 wins, like you just said, in a 9-game SEC schedule. And the guys talking about how tough the schedule is. While they said that last year too. I'm not going to say that's going to be a bad thing. We're
going to hear from Coach Elko what he thinks about this year's schedule in a little while, around 8:35, because he joined KTCK, the ticket in Dallas. Bob Sturm, our friend, and Corby Davison. He talked to them about that. So we'll wait for that in a little bit. But a 9-win season, I think now is like a 10-win season last year.
Yeah, to some degree. Now I'll say this about everybody acts like going up to Notre Dame to win. I know it wasn't a conference game, but like that was no big deal.
It's a pretty big deal.
Why is that?
I went there. I saw that atmosphere. I saw that team. That's a pretty big deal.
The one that everybody was saying, oh, no, they should have been in the playoff. And you beat them on their home field. But the schedule wasn't, it wasn't good. Missouri was a team that was ranked. LSU was ranked when they played them, and so I just have an issue when they say, oh, well, they didn't play anybody and all this. There's a weak schedule. Look, they, to my chagrin, and I lost $200 because of this, by the way, I'll be honest about it. When they lost to Texas, it cost me $200. So if anybody has a right to be bitter, it's me. But is it really that unusual? I know they needed to win that game, but is that unusual in the SEC to lose a road game, especially to a ranked opponent? Happens.
It happens.
And then your loss is, to my chagrin, to all of our chagrin, it's 3-3 with like 3 minutes to go, and you have the ball on their end of the field, and you let one get away from you. Okay, against a team that played for the national championship. So you act like all of a sudden they got to the last 2 games and they just collapsed. They got beat and they didn't play particularly well, but maybe the opponent had something to do with that.
But you know who they were?
You got to be better in big games. I acknowledge.
Would you agree with this? And I think I haven't fully written this out as a thought, but they were a helter-skelter team all season long. There were moments they won games, right? So that's the most important thing. But there was parts of the LSU game you're ripping your hair out, these turnovers, right? South Carolina, 2 different teams. The Texas game, I believe they were the better team in the first half.
Well, they had the lead,
but they were, I think, dictated the tempo more than Texas did, as well as the lead. The Miami game, it was what it was.
You had opportunities. You let them slip away. You could have won that game. Of course, they missed field goals too, right? But there's too many opportunities. There's 3 that come to mind right now. Yes, you had a field goal blocked inside of 30 yards again. You had Marcel should have taken the loss or thrown the ball away, and he got hit and fumbled, and that ended a chance to win a game or to score, I should say.
Yep.
And then I'm not even talking about the last series. I'm talking about.
You're talking about, yeah.
I'm talking about. We all saw it when it was 3-3. I think it was KC Concepcion wide open at the 20. Marcel scrambling, didn't get the ball to him. We'll say it again. Marcel has to play better. We acknowledge that. But I'm talking about those 3 plays. If you get the field goal, if you don't fumble and get another field goal, and then if you complete that pass, we don't have all it. But it's if. Like I said, too many times A&M stands for almost.
Yep.
But
Nick, I don't even know if you still have it. Do you have the 25 schedule graphic still? Put that up because there were, and sometimes, by the way, football, you're going to be a helter-skelter team in football in general because it's not always going to go your way. I would say the first 2 games of the year, they weren't helter-skelter. They were inferior opponents, but and Notre Dame for sure was not. They were the first quarter or half quarter. They were, they had a turnover. They didn't look good to start the game, but you just gave up a big play or two in those games. Auburn, you dominated all game long. And
then with one of these days, I'm going to make, maybe this summer when I need content, I'm going to make a top 10 list, and a lot of them are going to be positive, but I'm going to make top 10 lists of, since I've been at TexAgs, what I thought were some of the worst coaching moves. And on that list will be that pass against Auburn that was intercepted and returned for almost a touchdown because it just didn't need to be a high risk play.
Which was the other? Was it the Miami game?
South Carolina.
Yes, at the end of the South Carolina game.
Yes, when you almost gave away.
That's got to be on the list too, right?
It very well could. The only thing is that
at least
in both of the games, they didn't go anywhere. South Carolina didn't. But yeah, those.
Auburn, I think you dominated. The score was not as close as that game was.
Yeah, the score does not indicate the way A&M controlled that football.
The Florida game was tighter than I think the score shows.
They beat Texas.
Yeah.
People say, you didn't beat anybody. Oh, well, beat the team that beat Texas.
Yeah. Arkansas was not a helter-skelter game, so I'm kind of talking myself out of my thought. But
it kind of was.
Well, you never lost the lead.
No, but I was sweating it out.
Yeah. LSU, first.
You dominated the second half.
You dominated the second half, which is, I guess, to my point.
And you didn't dominate the first half only because of self-inflicted wounds.
Which goes back to the helter-skelter. Missouri, that game, I know you won by a lot. I don't know why I wasn't. I was impressed that they won, but that game felt tighter for most of the game than the score indicated. Most of it.
Because of the tendency to give up the big play.
Yep. South Carolina, we know that one. Texas, we know it. Miami, we know it. There you go. Hey, there's your year in review on TexAgs Live.
Now we're looking ahead.
We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
This is the Go Hour.
Brought to you by the Warehouse at CC Creations.
And if you want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it multiple ways. One way is
to call us on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. That number is 979-693-1150. You know it. You love it.
You love it. Can you actually love a phone number?
Yeah, sure. Okay. You can love some phone. I love Irma's phone number.
Okay.
Because I know when I dial it, I get to talk.
Do you actually dial it, or do you just say Irma?
Actually, I don't even say. I just push. But in fact, I don't know a lot of phone numbers anymore. Yeah, that's why I struggle.
But I bet you knew you could tell me your phone number when you were a kid right now.
Yeah, I can tell you my first phone number when I was like 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
Because my mother drilled it in DA19927. Okay, moving on.
If
you can also text us.
What number?
At the same number on the Catalyst Pure Performance Energy text line. And by the way, this morning, I for some reason, I woke up at 3 o'clock and I could not go back to sleep. Well, I wanted to go to the gym. So you know what I did? I slammed a Catalyst.
You slammed it?
I slammed it.
Can your heart take that?
Yeah, it took it. I'm still here. And it was the orange flavor.
Just take your time.
Went up to the gym, had a great workout, was approached. Like I said, told him to give me a shout out with a guy that he's a trainer there.
Okay.
He's been listening to it. He used to live in South Carolina.
Okay.
He used to live in Nashville. He always says, listen to us. He's back in town. So Enrique Ramirez, thanks for supporting TexAgs and following us.
Enrique, what's up, man? Give us a shout sometime. And we didn't tell the people, but we're comfortably sitting where?
This is the Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
By the way,
and today's tax day,
It is.
So you should have been, if you didn't, you probably should have been
working
with holistic planning. Yeah, they can save you some of that money.
I can call them right now. Hey, Nick, let's go around the room and say hi to the people, right? Nick, did you notice this was the revisionist hour? Because we went back to the 24 season for baseball, and we went back through the 20. We're like, what has happened to this show? We're like,
it's Back to the Future, though.
Back to the Future. That's right.
Well, I wouldn't call it revisionist. I mean, what have y'all changed? You didn't change anything. You're pretty pragmatic about everything.
Yeah,
looking back.
When you're old, you look back quite often.
Looking back with Olin and David, two old guys, one who shaved, the other one who has not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did shave. How about that?
Yeah, it was funny how I hated the way it looked, and my family hated the way it looked, and then I shaved, and they missed the way it looked. Dad, I want you back with the hair, but you hated it. But now I want it back.
You want it back.
Anyway, what's up?
Oh, nothing. I just the big softball game tonight. I know Kayla will.
Why doesn't Nick ever grow a beard?
Because I can't, OB. I've tried to grow facial hair. I don't have it. It doesn't work.
Can you do a little skinny mustache or anything?
Yeah, it looks bad. It looks not good.
Let's just try it. Let's just see.
I'm not going to.
Come
on. But Kayla will tell us a little bit more about it. But I've been thinking, like, Aggie softball's on the outside of the top 10. Their 11th. New rankings came out yesterday. Aggie baseball into the top 10. If we go back, let's keep the revisionist hour going. If we go back to how Aggie softball ended last year, obviously we all know how the baseball season went to where we are right now. Again, long way to go in the seasons, I know. But 2 top 10 teams in the country. Really fun time to be a Aggie fan of the Diamond Sports. And
Diamonds are forever.
Yep.
Brought to you by
David Gardner and Kanye West. Anyway, we go to the Angry Elephant. He's got a song that says Diamonds are forever. Isn't that from a James Bond movie too?
Yeah. So Ian Fleming.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, Kayla, what up?
Hey guys, how are y'all?
You're at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center.
I am.
Ms. Gaither, tell us what's going on.
Well, to bounce off of Nick, we do have a pretty big softball game tonight. A&M is playing Baylor in Waco in their midweek matchup at 6:30 tonight. Kelsey Mathis is actually from Waco, and she's playing against some former teammates of hers. She did say in the press conference, it's just another game, no big deal, but this will be a big matchup because Baylor's ranked 40th in RPI, national RPI. They have some wins against big teams, but like I said, Aggie softball has been doing really well. They just came off a sweep in Oxford. They won 10-6, 7-5, and 10-9 this past weekend. Recorded 27 runs across 3-game series. KK Dement also had a grand slam and a 2-run home run on Sunday. So really great stuff from Aggie softball, and they moved up to number 11, like Nick said yesterday.
They wore them out in Oxford.
They did.
I've worn out a couple of Oxfords.
All right.
No, the shirt. Yeah, I've worn out a few.
I was going to say Baylor's no pushover. They've been receiving votes in the top 25 for several weeks now, so it's going to be a tough test for them.
Go in.
Gaither, let's get one more in before we hit a break.
Well, I was just going to talk about some Aggie basketball because the portal is moving, the portal is shaking, but we do have some players returning like Chris McDermott, Jamie Vincent, and Jeremiah Green. Chris McDermott was the only player last year when Bucky came back, so this will be his 3rd year with A&M. But you should follow Luke Evangelos' portal thread tracker because there's a lot of things happening with A&M basketball, including some 2027 recruits maybe coming to visit. So lots of stuff happening with Aggie basketball.
Excellent stuff. Let's hit a break.
Let's do.
All right. I want to talk about food.
Let's talk about food.
But I want to talk about 1775. Okay? I saw your posture change. You were here, and then I said 17, or I said food, and you did this.
Yeah.
You want to lean in.
Yeah. I'm kind of like, fat Matt Foley, the old Chris Farley character.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I live in a van down by the river, but I go eat at 1775 down well, it's actually kind of down by the river. You're getting close to the Brazos. Yeah, or the cemetery.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's worth the trip. You got that.
But it's not far.
Huh? It's not that far.
No, it's not even that.
Do you ever actually cross the Brazos on the way? Probably not. You don't even have to cross the river to get there, to get that succulent brisket, to get that those amazing pork ribs, that jalapeno cheese sausage. Queso mac and cheese.
Está rico, no?
It's even better than Campbell's soup. It's great.
It's great. I have not been in a few weeks. I think I need to go. It might be this week. And I'm going to sample it up.
Do the old sampler?
Yeah.
With some turkey. And some pulled pork.
Yeah.
I know you're not going to ask them for the pickles.
Oh, gosh, no. Pickles are the communists in my house, or in my opinion.
But then you get they'll throw on a couple of ribs and several slices.
Democracy right there, yeah.
Several. You know those, you Cubans, y'all like pork, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
Pavo. Oh, and that's turkey, Puerco. Yeah, I love it.
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Hey, go to 1775. Go to their website if you want to learn more, 1775txbbq.com, or you can call them up, 979-492-6241. It is 1775.
And it's good.
Hey everyone, David Nuño here of TexAgs Live. I want to introduce you to the team at Holistic Planning. Got Jason Barber here, Taylor Pankratz, and also Paul Meredith. Jason, I want to start off with you. What really sets Holistic Planning apart from the others?
Yeah, so what makes us different is most financial advisors stop at investment management. On the other hand, Holistic Planning, we manage investments, taxes, and estate planning all on one team, all underneath one roof.
Now, Taylor, when everything is coordinated like that, it really helps the bottom line, doesn't it?
It really does. When your investments and taxes are working together, you stop leaving money on the table and keep more of what's yours.
Paul, Holistic Planning is trying to expand as well.
That's true. We just opened our Houston office, and we're looking for people who feel like their advisor isn't seeing the full picture, because that's exactly what we fix.
And Jason, there's other opportunities beyond that.
Definitely. If you're a financial advisor and you want to join the Holistic Planning team, we're looking to add 50 teams in the next 5 to 10 years. So check out holisticplanning.com/advisors.
All right, so if you want a team that actually coordinates everything, go to holisticplanning.com. Aggies, this one is worth it. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggie Land since 1984 with your favorite pizza. And, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery. bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. Mike Renner, CBS Sports, has a mock draft out. And he has Chase Basantis' stock rising.
Okay, great.
While Cassius Howell's could be potentially dropping a tad. Okay. This is what he says, though, about Basantis. The Dolphins land one of the draft's top pass protectors in Chase Basantis. His ability to maintain a firm pocket stands out on tape. He could stick on the left side and kick Jonah Savania, I don't know how you say that, back to the right side where he played in college. So more on looking like Basantis could move into the first round. But then he says for Cassius Howell, he might drop to 42, where the Saints will pick him up in the second round.
Okay. Well,
anywhere in the top 50, 60 picks is great, right? I mean, to be drafted is great. But I understand when you are considered anywhere between, 18 and 32, you could be a second rounder.
I guess, yeah. And, of course, you want to be in the first round, not just for the prestige of it, but you just actually make more money.
Yep.
If somebody takes Cassius falls into the second round, somebody's going to get a hell of a player in the second round.
Yep.
I'm not going to say he's going to be as good, because he might be as good, might be better, but it'll be very much like Edgerrin Cooper, I think.
A value pick there in the second round.
Yeah. You're right.
But we saw the tape. Why did he go in the second round, right?
Right. And the only reason is they say, well, his arms are 32 inches long, and we want them to be 36 inches long. And
well, it's interesting. I don't have the audio here, but I was listening to Coach Elko yesterday on the ticket. As I mentioned, we're going to hear some of that sound in the next segment. But he talked a little bit about both Cassius Howell and Ruben Bain's arm length not being a big deal. He supported both of those guys.
Well, I expect Ruben Bain to be taken in the first round.
Yep.
And if their arm length are similar now, Ruben's kind of seems like he's a heavier guy, right?
Yeah.
But look, if you can get to the quarterback, you can get to the quarterback.
Yep.
And I saw there were those that said, well, what about that game against Miami when they had to go up against elite defensive tackles? What did he do? And then I think it was McShane that pointed out, if you watch the game, just the way Miami played, he rarely had an opportunity because they were getting rid of the ball so fast. Why?
Because they knew who was coming.
So
that happens. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back. Let's hear from Coach Elko on the other side. Right now, we're talking about the Rollo Insurance Group that builds lasting relationships through education. They are fantastic. They are my insurance provider. They provide a lot of folks in this Brazos Valley area, all over Texas, by the way, 60 awesome offices. Their headquarters is here in College Station, as I mentioned. They share our community values. They're an independent agency that works for you, not for shareholders, and they provide an objective consultation across all insurance lines available in Texas and beyond. Join thousands of Aggies who trust Rollo Insurance to get their insurance situation taken care of. Call them up right now, 888-44-ROLLO. That is 888-44-ROLLO, or go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. That is rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs.
At Brazos Valley Floor and Design, the Morrow family has helped Bryan College Station homeowners remodel with confidence for over 25 years, backed by the Adore Your Floor guarantee.
When you're ready to update a kitchen, refresh a living room, or renovate the whole house, come see the latest in flooring, from designer carpet to laminate, luxury vinyl plank, hardwood, and tile.
We're 2 generations, hands-on from design to installation.
Brazos Valley Floor and Design, best floor and design since 1999.
And that's a promise.
And we're back. I don't know if any of that was on the air. Doesn't matter. It's TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. So we're still hanging out at the Holistic Planning Cool Zone. OB,
yeah,
the schedule last year.
Mm-hmm.
Before the season started, what did people say?
That it was, look at this schedule. They're probably going to be lucky to win 8 games because they got to go on the road to LSU and they got to go to Texas. They got to go up to Notre Dame and got to go to Missouri and you know they'll be lucky to win 8 games.
I still think it was a hard schedule, by the way. I still think going to Notre Dame and going to Baton Rouge, unless LSU is 6-6. And by the way, we've seen a 5-7 LSU team beat A&M before in Baton Rouge, right? Wasn't that the Ed Orgeron's last year? Didn't they go 5-7?
Maybe.
Or maybe they went 6-6 after they beat A&M.
Of course, we've seen it the reverse way too.
We have. Going to Baton Rouge is always hard.
Yeah.
Okay. They were supposed to be the greatest transfer class of all time and the greatest this and that.
And they hadn't quit yet.
They hadn't quit yet. Okay. So anyway, it can still be hard and you can make it look pedestrian because of what you do to that team afterwards. Okay. This year, you heard what Brandon Marcello said earlier, right?
Yeah.
Like November, you got to go to Tuscaloosa, you got to go to Oklahoma, you're going to play Texas again, maybe a November dip, yada, yada, yada. So let's hear from Coach Elko, who went on the ticket yesterday with, I think they call it the hard line in the afternoon still. That's what it used to be called. I think it's the hard line with Bob Sturm and Corby Davidson when he was asked about the November schedule.
Where you want to go now?
I was like, son of a...
Enough of all this positive stuff. Let's jump ahead to next November and this gauntlet that you've got to get through. Thanks for that.
Son of a coach. I mean, starting October 24th, it's at Alabama, then at South Carolina, Tennessee, at Oklahoma, and then Texas. I know there's 5 or 6 schools every year in the SEC that always say, oh, God, this is going to suck so bad, but... It's part of it, man. It's just, it is what it is, and you roll the dice, and this is what they come up with.
Yeah, but here's what I want to do. So I want to record this conversation so that next year in November, when you guys are talking about how easy my schedule is, I want to be able to come back.
Right,
to this.
yes. Yeah. Thank you, Coach.
I was having this same conversation last year, and people were saying, how are you ever going to go to LSU and go to Notre Dame and go to Missouri? And then I got into the season, and all anyone was talking about is how I wasn't playing anyone.
Thank
you.
Seriously. Yeah.
They can't have it both ways. Able to record that. We can't do both of that. But
we'll make a recording of this. Don't worry.
No. I think adding the 9th game in the SEC obviously, I think created some gauntlets for everybody. I think when you look across the board, there's just so many quality programs in this league that it's impossible to get a good draw. And so I think if you look at everybody's schedule across our conference, and we certainly have talked about this as coaches. None of it looks fun, but that's why you play in this league. That's why you choose to play in this league. It's why you choose to coach in this league, because there are a lot of elite programs, and you're going to go against the best week in and week out, and certainly that's the challenge we want to be part of.
So I have not gone and looked through everybody's schedule in the SEC, but I think he brings up a good point. The 9th game makes it more difficult, not only because it's another game, but it just what that does to the strength of power of your schedule, adding potentially a Georgia, adding potentially an Ole Miss, adding potentially an LSU.
Look, it's always going to be tough. You're in the heavyweight division. Light heavyweight, stay in the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the heavyweight. You opted to be in the heavyweight division, and now with 9 games. And I always say everybody was talking about how great Texas was at the end of the year last year, and how compromised A&M was. Texas, as I've said before, lost to Florida. Texas needed a very almost the same miraculous comeback that A&M needed against South Carolina to beat Mississippi State.
Yeah.
And Kentucky.
Kentucky, that was
and
Kentucky should have won that game.
And here's the point: I'm not ragging on Texas for that. I'm using that as an example of how difficult it is on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah.
And we all know this, but you feel like you're still having to remind people. And mainly, you're having to remind the media.
Yeah. And look, it is what it is. Like Corby said there, you're going to have to go through these teams to be able to win. The question is, has A&M reloaded enough to be able to handle it? Because there were some tight games last year, and they were on the better side of most of those.
But you know what? Again, there were tight games, but a lot of times the games were tight because of A&M doing some things that they shouldn't have done to keep the other team close.
Exactly right.
And I just am somewhat optimistic that the longer they're under the Elko regime, that
the less those
they're going to start.
Yeah.
They're going to start cleaning up some of that.
Yep.
And frankly, I look around, and I know you feel the same way, and most everybody that watches the show feels the same way. And you look at what Elko did in the transfer portal 2 years ago and last year, and you say, you don't take anything for granted, and it's like investing, holistic planning in cool zone. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
Yep.
But you still feel pretty good that Elko is going to bring in guys and has brought in guys that's going to keep them from having this significant decline.
Yep. Let's hear a little bit more from Coach Elko. Spring game is coming up this Saturday, and for what A&M is trying to do long term and for this season, how important the spring is.
How big is spring, dude? Like, describe it to the layman who's not real sure what goes on during the spring and how important it is to you guys come fall.
Yeah, for us, it's critical. I think this is the most developmental time of year. With the way the NCAA rules have shifted, we don't get a ton of padded practices. We don't get to scrimmage with other teams like the NFL does. We don't get preseason games like the NFL does. And so really, we try to do a lot of our legwork in spring football because that's, you're far enough removed that all the bumps and bruises will heal up long before the season. And, you can kind of really do some of the core development within your program. And so for us, spring is critical. And then obviously with the way college football is nowadays, you're welcoming in a lot of new players. And so you've got to get a lot of new people, up to speed with how we do things, offense, defense, system, all of that. And so, it's a critical time for us for sure.
Can we... Oh, do you have something you want to say about that?
Again, we talked about it yesterday. If he says it's critical, then it's critical. But I think the most critical thing is getting through Saturday without a significant... Alabama, I don't know if you saw this.
I did.
They had I can't think of his name right now, but a receiver get hurt in that they were planning on being a big part of their offense, got hurt. And I don't think he's going to be out for the year, but they're acknowledging part of the year. He's going to be out maybe a significant amount of time.
Nick, can you run that first part of the bite again? I'm just laughing because in my head, I thought I heard Corby call Elko dude. Maybe I heard it wrong.
How big is spring, dude? Like, describe it to
Did he say, how big is spring, dude? Or am I hearing it wrong?
I think he said
Try it again,
dude.
How big is spring, dude? Like, describe it to
how big is spring, dude, or did?
I think he just, I think it was almost like a verbal pause, like I'm trying to...
One more time.
How big is spring?
How big is spring, dude? Like
the...
Corby would say dude. That's why I'm curious.
Well, maybe he did.
But I don't think he's on dude level with Coach Elko.
I'm
going to try that at a press conference.
Yeah. Hey, dude. Maybe,
dude.
Yeah, if you question his answer, dude,
come on.
Or if you like that answer, dude,
what's up? I'm going to start. Actually, instead of me,
you know what?
You need to start doing the dude. Pause. No, like ask using the word dude.
It sounds like Mountain Dew. Do the dude.
Do the dude.
But
I'm going to text Bob Sturm about that. Did he say dude? Did he mean to say dude?
To me, it sounded like, all right, I'm the king of the verbal pause when I ask questions, because my speech pattern is what it is. And it sounded like to me that was almost the verbal pause. Where I'll go like, or Jamie Morrison. Goes, to me, it sounded like he went, "Hey, you in the spring?"
Maybe that's what
it was quicker. That's what I thought it was.
I want to put a poll up,
but I hope he was calling dude.
I don't want to upset the hard line, but like I maybe
I think Elko would actually respond positively if someone called him dude.
Isn't that an oppressor?
Yeah, it depends on the mood.
Okay. Saturday,
it depends
you get an opportunity.
It depends on the mood of the dude.
The mood of the dude.
Don't be too crude.
Because that would be rude.
Yes.
Anything else, dude?
We can go back to that 1775 and talk about food.
That puts me in a good mood.
Yeah, right. Full circle, right back where we started.
Are we the biggest bunch of dorks on radio and TV?
We're like Beavis and Butthead over here.
Make sure one of us is handsome. All right, moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet. I was talking about you, of course. That long hair. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. If you're in the Bryan College Station area, if you're listening in Dallas, if you're listening in Houston, if you're listening in Navasota, I don't care where you are, the real deals are at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They're stocking up on their new vehicles all the time. They're ready to deal on those vehicles. And if you've got a car that you're thinking about trading in, let them give you that value, and you're going to walk away a very happy customer. They're locally owned. They got an Aggie alumni team, and they know how to take care of all of their customers. And that is why every vehicle comes with that free oil change for life. That's real value that continues to pay you back. Stop settling for big city prices and high-pressure tactics. Remember, it's only a 15-minute drive. The edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and you do business with the good people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com.
I'm Wes Mangan, and I live on a piece of property with my wife and 2 boys and several animals. I work in oil and gas, and I travel a lot, and so when I come home, it's like my sanctuary. I get to see Lauren and the boys, and it's been just a perfect fit for us, and it's really improved our family time. And this is the first land I'd ever purchased, so dealing with the land side of things and dealing with Capital Farm Credit was super easy for us through the whole process. I definitely feel like with Capital Farm Credit, together we are better.
All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Earlier, we talked about Brandon Marcello's predictions for A&M. Mm-hmm. I was going to go through all the other teams. Let's rapid fire go through that, and just you give me some quick thoughts. Okay. He says, I'm not going to read you what he says. I'm just going to give you the headline of what he says about each team. Alabama, tide surprises exceed expectations.
I'm not so sure about that.
Arkansas, Hogs snag a big one in Ryan Silverfield's first year. Don't say that either.
Doubtful.
Alex Golish and Auburn win 8 games.
Maybe. I have to look at their schedule. But you know what? They're making a big... Well, the quarterback was good, but he was good at South Florida.
And they did beat Florida.
We'll see.
Florida. Gators go bowling.
Well, I mean,
you would think.
Buy some new shoes and a new ball. Sure, I'd go too.
Georgia, the defense returns to its best form.
Probably.
Kentucky, the most dangerous underdogs in the SEC.
Ask Texas.
LSU, the Tigers roll late in the season.
Maybe Lane gets them going. Maybe. I still question their defense.
The tide falls in Starkville. And I'm going to read you the first line. Jeff Lebby finally gets that win to sway fans into his corner, a victory over Alabama.
I don't think that's outrageous. I wouldn't pick it, but I do think, I've said this before, why is Alabama going to be significantly better than they were last year, or as good?
Right. Missouri, the Tigers reached the college football playoffs.
I'm gonna disagree.
I am too. Ole Miss, the Rebels start hot. Why am I saying it like that? Sag late. I said it like I was yawning. The Rebels start hot and sag late.
I don't know the schedule, but I like Trinidad Chambliss, and I like their running back.
Oklahoma, John Mateer contends for the Heisman.
We're going to start that again.
South Carolina, Lenoris Sellers returns to form.
Who's going to block for him?
Tennessee, the ball flip in year 6 under Josh Heupel.
I can see that.
Texas, the Longhorns win the national championship.
It won't happen. I don't think it'll happen. I think Arch is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, but why didn't anybody ever factor in defense and what you lose on defense? I maybe, but I wouldn't bet on it.
Vanderbilt, less exciting but still successful.
Define successful. If you mean
better than what we're used to seeing from Vanderbilt, semi-modest successful years, maybe seven wins.
Yeah, they got a winning season.
Yeah,
I like Clark Lee. I think he's a heck of a coach. I think Vanderbilt's fortunate that he's an alum, so he's not as likely to leave.
Yeah. Again, they're just opinions.
Just opinion. It's like a nose, like my dad used to say. Actually, he said something else, but I'm saying nose. Everybody's got one.
Yeah, everyone does have one.
My dad was more colorful than that.
Yeah, I can only imagine what he said there. Anyway, OB, fun hour, buddy.
I had a good time.
Closer to the spring game. A couple days away.
A couple days away. As of today, nobody cares about this, but we're saying it anyway. I'm exactly 1 month away from watching my son be the first Buchanan to graduate college.
Can't wait for that. Congratulations.
1 more month.
We'll celebrate that. OB, thank you, buddy.
Yep.
When we come back, John Harris on TexAgs Live. All right, we are back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio, hour number 2 of the program. Waiting on Johnny Harris up to get him on the program on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. As we wait for that, let's find out what's cracking on TexAgs today.
Well, before I get started, I just want to say that if you aren't a premium subscriber to TexAgs, you should be, because there's so much content coming out. There's a lot of stuff happening around Aggieland with Aggieland Sports. But on TexAgs today, we have a baseball recap from Richard from last night's win over Houston, the 10-2 victory in the midweek matchup. We have a Take 5 interview with Jordan Lockhart. We have insight on Dr. Susan Balabina, the sole finalist for the Texas A&M president. We have a full B-team show presented by SV Animal Hospital. And softball climbed to number 11 in the rankings, and Kay Nagley breaks it down. And then later today, we will have some softball content and other content on the site.
Awesome stuff. Brian Broadcasting, if you can, call John Harris up. He just sent me a text. He's having some issues with his Zoom, so we'll talk to Johnny. I want to get into the draft with him and ask him if he's hearing some of the same stuff about Chase Basantis moving up the rankings, and also potentially seeing Cassius Howell could dip into the second round. I think, again, as I alluded to earlier with OB, I think oftentimes when you're in that, I said 18, but let's call it in the 20 range to 30, like it's very common that another GM values this and you just slip a little bit. I think a lot of NFL draft people too also just kind of copy each other's work. John Harris does real work. Lance Zierlein does real work. Daniel Jeremiah, there's a lot of that as well. Like, and I'm not saying the guy from CBS is doing that at all. I'm just saying, like, it becomes overwhelming, the amount of people who talk about where somebody is, that it just kind of catches on. We go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We are joined by our buddy John Harris on the program. Johnny, what up?
What's going on, David? How you doing?
I'm good. You can catch John's work at footballtakeover.com, and, of course, Houston Texans sideline reporter. Johnny, I just want to start off with draft stuff. I've read a couple things that maybe Cassius dips into the second round. Maybe Chase Basantis can dip into or rise to the first round. Are you hearing any of that same stuff?
It's fun. Yes, it's Seth Payne, and every day they do what they call mock draft injection. And so today's was Dane Brugler from The Athletic. Dane's done a seven rounder, and his pick at 28 for the Texans was Chase Basantis, and his pick at 38 was Cassius Howell for the Texans. So I said it last week on a program. I felt like the Texans would end up with at least one Aggie. It's kind of math in the sense that there were, 13 or 14 at the combine, and the Texans had needs at spots that 13 or 14 of those guys play. And if the draft turned out where we took Basantis in the first round and Cassius at 38, I'd be dancing on the stage on Friday night. That would be really exciting. I think, Basantis is, catching a little bit of steam here at the end, which, my very first mock draft, I had him going first round of the Texans because, we needed interior offensive lineman. I still think we need interior offensive lineman. I think he's one of the best in this draft. I think everything about him screams Texan. And it's funny, when I was at the Lombardi Award and I sat with Cassius, I remember saying to him, man, I would love you in Houston, but it ain't going to happen, just because we got Daniil and Will. But the more I thought about what has happened with that position for us, we've lost a couple of guys from that position, and I thought, you know what? We need an edge rusher. We don't have a young, just get after it, disruptive edge rusher. And Cassius is a little different than anybody we have. Our guys are, kind of 6'4", long. Cassius is not long. He's, a 30-something, 31-inch arms. He's not a long player, but he's tenacious, and he's got those, first guy off the bus qualities. Like, he doesn't give an F. And I think that sort of swarm mentality that he shows would be perfect for us. So I think those two for sure. Trey Zune had a 30 visit here, apparently. I can't say whether I saw him or not, but I feel like I saw him one day, but I don't know. So I don't know what the Texans think of Trey, but look, we need a center, and there are a lot of teams thinking that Trey's going to play center for a long time in this league as opposed to tackle. And that's another position of need. So, it could be multiple Aggies, but I know that Basantis and Howell for sure they're right in that mix of where we are, kind of back into the first, beginning of the second. And look, some guys, in a sense, when they get in, to the draft and draft is going on, sometimes when you get to the back end of the first round, look, there's a lot that goes with being a first round pick. But some guys like to go into the second because they can get to that second contract sooner. And so, a guy like Carson Schlesinger was the first pick of the second round last year. He was the D'Amico Ryans of the Browns, first pick of the second round. That dude was Defensive Player of the Year. He's now this year, next year, and after that, he can go sign a big contract and get his money a lot sooner if you're a second rounder. So there's no harm in being a second rounder. You just get that money. If you're all that, you can get that money a year earlier, and I think some guys like that. So there's nothing wrong with being a top of the second round pick. So if that Dane Brugler mock draft came out like that, I'd take that in a heartbeat. I'd take Basanis and Howell right now, and that would be a huge victory for this team.
Talking to Johnny Harris here on TexAgs Live. So Johnny, offensive line is, I guess, top of mind for the Texans in this draft, or maybe second to mind?
I still think it's of mind, and I still think they've got to have a high priority on it. But because of re-signing Ed Ingram, re-signing Trent Brown, signing Braden Smith, signing Wyatt Teller, signing Evan Brown, they put a lot of capital into the offensive line. Not to say that they won't, but they've got 8 picks going in. They'll draft another offensive lineman. Now, how early? We'll see. I think the what Nick said the other day is what I say. He kind of said it a little bit better. He's like, we let the board speak to us. He's like, if we had to go play a game today, we've got a unit that could go out there and play, and we'd be good. And they'd be one of the better teams in the NFL. So they get a situation where they let the board sort of speak to them. Our offensive linemen get pushed down because other positions are going off the board. Our edge rusher's staying on the board because everybody's going to get offensive linemen. I think last year was a great example of that. They were sitting at 25. They wanted to trade up with the Cowboys to go get Tyler Booker out of Alabama. Cowboys didn't want a 2027 pick or 2026 pick, so they couldn't do it. Then they tried to trade up to get Gray Zabel, couldn't do it. Stay at 25, thought maybe a player of a kind of pod would get to them. Those guys all went with the 4 picks right in front of them. They get a call from the Giants who wanted to come and get Jackson Dart. They're like, okay. They let the board speak to them, and when they did, they moved down to the top of the second or near the top of the second, and with the draft capital they got in the trade for Jackson Dart, they used that to move up in the second to get Ariante Ursery. So they got Higgins and Ursery for the pick at 25. They just let the board speak to them and what they think is best for the team. There's really no gaping hole. Oh, you got to go get this position. But I do think interior offensive line is definitely going to be up there, a center in particular. Edge rusher, they've got to get some young depth. But they also need somebody that get the ball in his hands and do something with it and be dynamic. So whether it's receiver, tight end, running back, one of those positions, a guy that can play multiple spots, somebody maybe who's good in returns, I think they've got to add somebody of that ilk. And maybe it's in the first round. Maybe they move up and get a Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon. Maybe in the second round with one of those picks, they look at Eli Stowers from Vanderbilt. Somebody a little different, creates matchup problems, speedy, fast, athletic, dynamic. Somebody like that to add to what they've got. I think the receiver group is fine as long as the second-year guys, Higgins and Knoll, step up. Tight end needs a boost. And look, I wouldn't even mind if they, on early day 3 drafted Borkitzer. I would love that, actually. I think he would be a really good fit for what the Texans want to do. So I think there's an opportunity there for interior offensive line, tight end. I mean, Nick Caserio said the other day, pretty much everything but quarterback is on the table. And I don't want him to draft a punter or a kicker, but you know me. But anything else, hey, I could see it. Third corner, yeah. Backup safety to push for a starting spot, sure. Interior defensive line, absolutely. I could see a lot of different positions based on how the board falls and what they think about those players and kind of trying to match those up. So I do think interior offensive line, yes, but I think they've got other needs that they can satisfy in this draft to help push them towards the Super Bowl this year.
Johnny, help me understand what you think the Texans' position is on C.J. Stroud. Obviously, they're picking up the extension. He'll be there. But I forget how Nick phrased it, but the way I think it was internalized, at least on social media, was that, they're just going to play it. They're going to play it by ear. He's their quarterback. Absolutely. They love him. But they don't need to go into a long-term commitment today.
Yeah, I think you just said it, David. I mean, it's, Nick didn't use the words for now. He just said CJ's our quarterback, and they're throwing all their weight behind him. And I understand it. Nick drafted him. D'Amico wanted him. They put their effort, behind him. And look, if it doesn't work out, nobody's going to look back and go, "Oh, Nick and D'Amico screwed that up." I don't think they'll look at it like that. I just think, all right, it just didn't work out. But I feel like it's going to. I feel like CJ has got the right makeup to bounce back from, a rough situation. I mean, look, just think about that guy's life and what he's had to bounce back from. He was the last quarterback to get invited to the Elite 11, and that was like a year or two after his dad had gone to prison. Lived with a single mom. They didn't have a lot of money growing up. Like, the adversity he's gotten past versus, he played a bad playoff game, yeah, I think CJ will be fine. But you got to be prepared for anything, and you got to be prepared for what if he's not. So how do you go about it? Well, I've said this numerous times. You know how I feel about this, David. I think the quarterbacks in this draft are not great. I don't want anything to do with any of them, really. I'd much rather have a quarterback from 2027. And we drafted Graham Mertz last year. I think you give him another year unabated to learn the system and learn and show what he can do. You got Davis Mills already here. You can absolutely get by in 2026 with what you have if something were to happen to CJ or things don't go well. And then if at the end of 2026 you have some similar things happen like they did this year, then you go into 2027's draft where there are multiple options at quarterback, and you really internalize whether he is going to be that guy for you going forward. Look, you want to get in a situation like the Dolphins. The Dolphins are like, well, I guess we have to pay Tua. And then all of a sudden it turns out 1 year into the 5-year deal, they're like, we don't want to play Tua anymore. And now you got to take this big cap hit and reset your whole organization. You don't want to be in that situation. And I think that's what teams have learned a lesson in a sense from. If you don't know, don't absolutely totally buy in. You got to be absolutely totally bought in to give a quarterback 60-something million a year. I mean, that sounds obvious, right? But that's kind of where we are. Like, some teams are just, well, we're doing it because we feel like we have to. You don't. You can sit there and go, you know what? We love you, but if you want the really big money, you need that year next year. Joe Flacco is a great example. Joe Flacco went to Baltimore first 3-4 years. They gave Joe an offer going into his 5th year of his 5-year contract. He didn't like it, and he just told me, he said, look, I love you guys. I'm going to bet on myself. And then the dude took him to a Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl, and he ended up getting God knows how much money because he bet on himself. And he won. And I think that's what CJ would do ultimately. Sure, we would all love the comfort of a 5-year, $250 million deal. But CJ, I don't think he thinks like that. I think, if anything, he wants the extension. He wants the extension. He wants the big one. He wants to beat everybody else. And I don't blame him. So I don't think he's going to get that from the team. I think everybody knows it. Maybe they know it. Maybe they don't. We'll see. Maybe we'll get to OTAs and maybe he's not here. I don't know. We'll find out. But my guess is that he's betting on himself in year 4. And if he does things, AFC Championship game, Super Bowl, MVP, whatever, that have never been done here, he'll set a contract that will set records in the NFL. And my guess is he'd much rather do that than take a Tua deal or take a Trevor Lawrence deal. He wants one of those deals. And I don't blame him. I'd want it too. I'd want to show everybody that I'm the highest paid quarterback, highest paid player to ever play this game. And that would be pretty cool. But he's only, I think, going to get that if he shows this year that he is that guy and he is the driver of a team going to the Super Bowl, winning a championship, which I think he can do ultimately. Just get past what happened last year, figure out what went wrong, get it right in 2026, and then go get your cash next summer.
Johnny, last thing for you. Who's a riser you think in this draft that we're not thinking about, or maybe we are thinking about him, and who's somebody who could potentially drop?
Well, my favorite riser is kind of flying in the face of what we talked about a little while ago. Mine is edge rusher Malachi Lawrence from UCF, because I love him. And I love Cassius Howell. And I think if both of them are on the board, I'd have a hard time picking between the two, because I love Malachi Lawrence from UCF. Thing is, his name has gotten so hot, more mock drafters are putting him in the first round. And some mock drafters are putting him in the first round ahead of Cassius. I love this kid from UCF. I mean, he's got every pass rush technique, and he's got speed off the edge. My God. He is really, really fun to watch. I think the player to me that's dropping, I don't know if dropping's the right word, but it's funny because, we were talking about Dane Brugler earlier. I have a good friend of mine, Fran Duffy, who does draft stuff up in Philadelphia. Great dude, worked the Eagles for a long time. Now he's on his own doing draft stuff for all Philly. And when I was in Mobile, I went to lunch, and when I walked in for lunch, both Fran and Dane were sitting there. We had a long conversation. They were picking my brain about the Texans. So I wasn't surprised they went with Basantis and Cassius in their mock drafts, because I had talked to Dane about, when you guys do your mock draft, keep these things in mind, and I think they did. When I talked to Fran about Blake Miller at Clemson, we both had the same thought. He's been mentioned in the first round. He's been the Texans' mock draft pick for numerous people, just people putting offensive line. He's the best guy. I put him in there. I don't like him at all. I've got a late second round pick, which I thought I was the lowest. I talked to Fran. Fran's got a 6th round pick on him. So I'm like, okay, I'm not outside the realm of possibility, but Blake Miller's name has been mentioned so much with the Texans, and I just don't. I'm not a big fan. And yes, you would draft him, and then I would say stash him, but you would draft him and let him sit. But I don't think he's any better than what you have on the roster, and I don't think he's going to get any better. So to me, Blake Miller from Clemson, the offensive tackle, would be a guy that a lot of people are talking about that I think is going to fall in the draft all the way to day 2.
Great stuff, Johnny. We'll talk to you, I hope, next week before the draft if you got a few.
Absolutely, man. I'll be ready. See you, brother.
Later, bro. It's John Harris, my brother, here on TexAgs Live. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. Coach Pat Henry joins us. Chit-chat about track and field. Obviously, they hosted the event this past weekend, had 13 wins. It was a great weekend. So we'll talk to him on the other side on TexAgs Live. All right, we'll hit a break. 13 events, that they won. We'll hit a break. We'll do that. Right now, we're talking about your money and your peace of mind, and it starts with the right team. That right team should be and might be already Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary firm serving clients all across Texas with no commissions, no sales pitches, just trusted advice tailored to you. They have a team of 18 professionals, including 9 CFPs, a CFA, and a CPA, and their expertise runs deep. And at Paragon, credentials matter, and so does your future. What you should do is visit the website paragon-adv.com or give them a call. 979-693-3907 to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. It's time for our weekly conversation with our dear friend, Pat Henry. And this is from running shoes to Aggie pajamas. The Aggie family's got you covered. Visit Brazos Running Company at Century Square or shop Mason Hay at masonhay.com.
Wait a minute. Explain running pajamas.
So, okay, you got your running shoes at Brazos Running Company. But they have a sister company, masonhay.com. That's his daughters, Mike's daughters. That they'd make Aggie pajamas, not running pajamas, Aggie pajamas.
Right.
If I said running pajamas, because I'm running to talk to you, because you know I don't like to be late.
I was a little bit concerned about that.
So, although I would like to see, I think there are like races where you can go in pajamas and you can go in superhero gear.
Oh, yeah, there's races.
We should do one.
Everything.
We should do like pajamas, Nuño and Henry.
That'd be fine. I got a great course to run it on.
Yeah? Let's do it. I'm in. So I wanted to start, first off, let me first off talk about business because 13 events at the on the final day of the 44 Farms Invitational.
Yeah.
Just talk to me about the vibe right now heading into this weekend at Tom Jones Memorial.
Yeah, I'm pleased with our team right now. We're almost completely healthy. We got two out that could be contributors for us, but they're not ready to go yet. I think we can get them ready, but I'm a little concerned about the time of the year that we're unable to get them ready. This is the time of the year. This is a great time of the year. I mean, if you're hitting right now, this is the time of the year that you need to be. And so it makes every time we step on the track an important situation.
I want to go through last weekend, but I want to get into philosophy because we were talking. You and I are very aligned in certain ways, and Billy gets a kick out of it when we talk about how we're aligned because we're very similar. Meetings, structure. In today's age of NIL and high performers, do you think like you have a philosophy? If you're late, you're not getting in, right?
Yeah, I'd kick Billy off the team.
but like structure to you, do you think athletes still crave it?
No, I think they want expectations, structure. Yeah. The good ones are the ones who are structured, who are they want expectations. They want people expecting them to do well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And do you have to look for athletes like that? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, people who you don't have to look very hard because the people who win are those kinds of people.
Right.
You know, very seldom do you find an individual who is nonchalant, who just is just there that can walk out and win.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen hardly ever. Do I see that?
I've covered an NBA basketball player. I won't say his name. People will be able to figure it out. Who, in my opinion, was just born so gifted athletically, and didn't mean this guy didn't play basketball all the time. But I don't think there was the structure in his life. And there are certain people that I think can get away with it, but I wonder what they would be like.
If there wasn't.
My favorite athlete of all time, Charles Barkley, notorious partier. Like, he worked hard, but notorious, and I'm just curious, would he have still been Charles Barkley with the structure? And I think he would have. It would have been more.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a lot of athletes that come back that say, I wished I would have been a little bit more. I wished I'd have understood what you were talking about, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
What you meant about some of those things, because there was none in their life, and so when they come to a 3-hour a day, I'd say probably 6 hours a day, not 3 hours a day. When they come in there for that kind of structure, sometimes it's not something that they've ever done ever. So it's different.
Yep. Yeah. Let's get to the events. So the women's 4x100 relay ran a 43:03. I think it was 5th in the nation.
Yeah.
How close are they? I mean, they're elite. Yeah. How close are they to the next level?
Yeah, we're getting that group is coming around real well. Kurt's doing a good job with that group. They you have to run that event to really be able to be good at that event with the same four athletes.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just be substituting somebody in there. It just doesn't happen. You can't read marks on leaving times, and you can't sync up when that baton is going to be passed if you don't do it a few times.
Talk about a couple of your sprinters. Cameron ran an 11:02 in the 100. You have Anya running number 2 time in the nation in the 200.
Yeah, wind aided, both marks. But you got from right there to right there in 11-0. Cam is a very she's really good. She's learning how to compete between her own lines and not worry about who's next to her. And that's a real challenge for a lot of people, and your talent is between the lines. It isn't outside of your lines, and you don't always have to worry about competing against that person that's right next to you. You just do what you're supposed to do between your lines.
Let me ask a little bit more about that, because there is a balance, though, right? Because sometimes your best times come when there is competition next to you, right?
There's no question.
So you have to be able to internalize what's happening, but being the best version of you.
That's right. That's exactly right. You have to. You have to be able to push patterns, doing what you're supposed to do inside the race. Without somebody that's really good next to you, or somebody that can't really run with you next to you. But great competition, when that happens, when you line up, when there's great competition in your event, when the person next to you is really good. So you don't have to worry about anything but doing what you're supposed to do. And it comes out. It always happens.
Talk to me about the women's 1500. I mean, first, second, third, fourth. Like it was a great day for Aggies.
Yeah. No, we had a good day out there. And as like I said, one of the things I'm most pleased about right now is we're leaving the track competing at the best of our ability, and we're leaving it healthy. That means what you did in the fall, all that work you did in the fall, is paying off for you.
Reese Sharman, Newell, cracked the record books with in the 1500, number 6 all time.
Yeah.
Pretty high ceiling.
He does. He's a half miler though. But he's and actually he can run a pretty good quarter. Not good enough to compete at 400 meters, but he can run a pretty good one. But he's he's new, so we're just really finding out about him. But I think he's going to be a very, very good 800 meter guy.
Blake Harris put up a personal career best, 7,207 points.
77.
Yeah, 77.
Yeah, one of the better marks in the country right now. And Blake is a great story for us because he was a walk-on athlete, which from going forward, the way scholarships, the way this thing is all shaken out right now, I don't know that this kind of athlete will ever exist for us ever again. But as a walk-on, he's gotten better each year. He got hurt. He missed a year. He's come back from that injury, and he's come back strong, and he looks real good right now.
Talk to me a little bit about Lily Carlson, who I feel like we've talked about Lily almost every week recently.
Yeah. Young one, freshman. So if she does well, great. My expectations for her are, if she jumps 14.6, she jumps 14.8, she gets close to 15 foot this season, it'll be a tremendous season for her. Sometimes that's tough. Those expectations are tough for freshmen.
Well, when you go into a season, anything you get from freshmen, do you look at it as a bonus, or do you sometimes have to rely on them?
No, it's almost always. I mean, yeah, I expect some things from an athlete. I expect certain things from an athlete. Doesn't make any difference if they're a freshman or not. But if a freshman really does well at the meet that really counts, that's special, and it doesn't happen all the time.
So we've got Gainesville coming up.
Yep.
Talk to me about
this is a
what
big
we can
meet.
expect. Yeah.
Yeah. This meet will be very, very competitive. Good things will happen here. It's one we really look forward to competing at. Our athletes are this is important meet for them. So this is one of the first ones where in this progression of meets that it's really at one of the higher levels. And we're going to try to do the absolute best we're going to put the best on the track we can.
You feel like you all are trending in the right direction?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pleased with where we are right now. Our talent is good. If we can remain healthy, I'm pleased with where we are. We had a good indoor season. You know, we didn't win indoors. A lot of people expect us to win every time we touch the track. That's not going to happen. You know, and because we're a sport of one failure and you're unable to win.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, it's a tight competition. It's just a great competition.
Well, I mean, can you be the best version of yourself?
Yeah.
On any given
on that day.
Yeah.
You have to do it on that day. We don't have cumulative record. Nobody cares what happened at that meet this week. Nobody really cares.
This is all to prepare you for the next one.
Yeah, it's all a rehearsal, just like a play. You go to rehearse, and then at the end of all your rehearsals, you come out and you try to do your play as best you can. That's what we're doing.
Coach Henry, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
No, thank you.
We'll hit a break. We'll come back. Trisha Ford will be here in studio right now. Ground Shuttle. They offer frequent and reliable shuttles from Bryan College Station to George Bush Intercontinental Airport. You all have been there, how stressful it can be just to drive through Houston, to try to park at George Bush. Let them do the driving for you. They're going to get you there in style. You ride in a very nice vehicle. You can catch up on work emails. You can take a nap. You can read a book. Let the ground shuttle driver just take care of the driving for you. And they're close by. They're in South College Station. Get dropped off at your office or utilize their convenient, secured on-site parking for free for the first few days. Ground shuttle runs 9 shuttle times on the weekdays every hour and a half and 5 shuttle times on the weekends every 2.5 hours. Go check them out. Go say hi to Camila for us. It's easy to book your shuttle online at groundshuttle.com. That is groundshuttle.com. Or call them up, 855-303-4415. It's Ground Shuttle. Let them do the driving. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live talking a little softball. Kay Nagley joining me to talk to Trisha Ford. And I have some softball to get to, but you just dropped a little thing that made me very happy. I'm glad finally somebody else is in the studio that had a pager back in the 90s.
Absolutely, yeah. When I got to college, I thought it was cool.
It was. Did you have like the little codes? Like,
oh, absolutely. The original text message. Like we were really creative in text message. We had to
143 meant I love you, I think. There were some other ones.
You could say goodbye or good night.
Yeah. Do you have any idea what we're talking about?
Speaking of foreign language to me.
You missed out. Let me tell you, you missed out.
You guys actually typed narratives and paragraphs in text. We had to do like 3 words or 3 letters. Anyway, let's talk big picture. 11-4 in the SEC, couple of sweeps, 11 of 15 in conference games. How are you feeling about the way you're all trending?
Yeah, I mean, I think wins are good. I think we're just battling and we're figuring out ways to win ball games. Especially on the road. I think that's hard. And we had some bumps this weekend, but we just stayed together. And I think that's really what I'm seeing is that we're starting to really come together as a cohesive group and play ball together. So they have each other's backs.
You speak of having each other's backs. It seems like one weekend's the pitching staff's really finding its stride, and then this past weekend, the offense has just been really consistent. Just kind of talk about that dynamic of having each other's back.
Yeah, I think, the Georgia series, we pitched really, really well. This past series, we could have done better. And I think what we are understanding, though, is that even when we're not at our best, we can still find ways to win ball games. And so offensively, I feel like this whole year we have been pretty consistent, I think our approach in the box has been really good. It's been solid. Just adding Ariel to our lineup, I think, was just so big, and we didn't really understand that impact because we didn't have her all last year, this fall. And so I think that's been really big for us. And then our bottom of our lineup has really stepped up. And so our top's been pretty consistent, and you're going to have days where somebody has an off day or those types of things. But I think overall, they've just done a really good job of understanding the rhythm of how a lineup needs to go. For sure.
So what does, back on the offense, scoring 6 runs right out the gate do, like mentally for both teams? Because I think, doesn't mean a game's over, obviously, you're going to play a long time, but having that kind of cushion, what can do for a pitcher, what can do for the rest of the offense, and then what it does to the opponent.
Yeah, I think as a pitcher, you're like, okay, we're all right, I can go out there and pitch freely. And so you see that, and then sometimes we pitch a little too freely and are over the plate a little too much. So we did a great job, though, of not walking people this weekend. So we didn't give them any free bases, or that many. But I think from an opposing team, it's just like, oh, wow, like this is how today's going to go, And so you're then plotting as a coach of like, they've already scored 6. We have 6 more innings. How are we going to like manage throughout this game? So I think for us, that scoring first piece is really big. And when we score crooked numbers that first inning, it puts us in a really good, position.
The reason I bring it up is baseball on Saturday did it, and you all did it on Friday. So it's like it does change the way the game feels moving forward.
Absolutely. And you're just like, gosh, like this is going to be a long day. So, and it was for baseball as well. It was a good weekend.
Yeah. Y'all are 18-3 when scoring in the first inning. So, I mean.
Fair enough. Yeah. It's on our goal chart. So
yes.
there's,
just want to talk about the last 10 games. Y'all are 7-3 in that stretch. And I know if I would have asked you in February with some of the bumps and bruises that y'all went through, this seems like you're hitting your stride. You're where you want to be.
Yeah, we're definitely in control of our, destiny, and that's what you want. That's all you can ask for. I think we're still figuring things out in a good way, but we're figuring it out, but winning. And so I think, today's game is going to be tough. We go to Baylor this weekend. You're going to see two really top arms, I think, in our game right now with Peja and then Faircloth. And, it's going to be hard, but that's the fun part of it is the chess match of, this is what it looks like and how do we match that? And it might look different, but I think we have the ability to look different and win ball games.
When a pitching staff pitches around a hot player,
yep.
How frustrating can it be? Or it's also a sign of respect, like, all right, somebody else is going to knock me in.
I think from our perspective as adults, you think of it that way of like, oh, like take your walk and move on. I think at 18 to 22, they're itching to hit. And so it's like finding that balance of, for us, I'm like, I want traffic on the bases because I know if we get a single or a double, that's, multiple runs scored. But I do know, they want to hit in those situations. But I think overall, you have to learn that is very respectful, but then you're going to get another opportunity. It's coming,
Right.
the next at bat.
Going to Baylor tonight. You have a Waco native on your roster.
Yes, Kelsey.
Yes. Just kind of talk to me about her recruitment and then what she's meant to this program in a short time.
Yeah, Kelsey was fun. So Kelsey, fun story about her, and she probably told you guys, but her brother played ball at the other school.
She didn't say that yesterday.
She did. You have to give her crap about it. So her dad used to bleed burnt, that ugly color, and now he's all in Aggie gear. So I give him crap every time I can see him. But yeah, just a great family. Both mom and dad are very supportive of her. She played for an organization called Buzz, and it's a local team that, does a great job in Texas. And she was, fun. Just, we needed an outfielder. I think she's, Coach Harger was the one that I think spotted her first. Just athletic, good build to her. She's, tall. We thought we could put some muscle on her. And just when you get to spend time with her, you understand that she's just hardworking. She's a perfectionist, and she really wants to do well for her team. And so I think getting players like that in your program are huge.
You mentioned on Saturday, I think it was Saturday, that winning in this conference is obviously hard. So coming away with a sweep, you don't take that for granted, right?
No.
And they shouldn't get used to it because that's not life.
No.
But you've done it a few times this year.
We have, but yesterday in practice, we reminded them that basically just because you've won doesn't mean that you're going to win. So we find ways to make sure that we keep our heads screwed on straight. So I think, yes, winning in this conference, any game is hard, but you have to play at a certain level in order to earn those wins. And so I think that's going to be really important for us as we move forward, is can we continue to put those pieces together?
This conference can humble you quickly, right? So if you don't stay razor sharp, it can go away in an instant.
Yeah, like you could blink and you're 0-3 and you're like, what happened? So we make sure that we are well aware of that.
Ariel Kawaluski's I feel like we've just seen her take strides out week after week. She had a big throwdown at the play, I think it was to end Friday's game. Just kind of talk about, she said you called that and she was like ready, like really excited, ready to do it.
Yes. So ways that we can end the game. That's what I was trying to figure out. And it was actually Saturday's game, but the pinch runner came in and took a really aggressive lead. And I was like, as a coach, you're like, what's going on there? And it was the backside runner. And so we had been talking about it as an infield. When I went out there and talked to the pitchers a couple of times, there was some aggressive base running going on throughout the game. And Tal and I, she said she was also really excited because they were all itching. And so I think that was just a huge way for us to finish that game. They had runners at second and third, the last inning, and it was huge. And we had to execute it, and AK did just a tremendous job.
What does this week feel like and look like for you? Obviously, Baylor coming up here, and then Mississippi State.
Yeah, lots of video. Yeah, long hours. But I think, tonight's going to be hard. It's going to be, on the road against a top 50 RPI team. They've got some arms. Baylor is a more athletic, I would say, speed-oriented team. Mississippi State offensively is more of a long ball team, but they just have plus arms. And so it's going to be important for us to figure out those arms. They got a lefty that's got a really good changeup, and then Peja has multiple speeds, and so we just got to play our game.
Yeah.
For sure. We saw it last night, but Alabama dropped a midweek contest to Stanford. Like, it's not uncommon in these diamond sports for these midweeks to go awry just like that. So how do you make sure your team's razor sharp?
Well, I think Baylor, because it's an in-state, we have a lot of kids that know each other. So there's some bragging rights that are definitely on the table tonight. And when we played them in the fall, it was a very close game. And if I was Baylor, I would feel really good going in tonight. So it's our opportunity. I always find a way to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But they're feeling pretty good. So it's a great opportunity for us to go out and play our game.
Yeah.
Coach Ford, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
We'll hit a break. Short segment on the other side before the 10 o'clock hour. It's TexAgs Live. And we are back. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate everybody listening in. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Kayla Gaither's there. What are the humans saying?
Well, there's a debate in the YouTube chat right now about if A&M has a number one power back in the running back room. I've seen some names like, what about Tiger Ryden Jr.? What about Ruben Owens? So what is your opinion on the YouTube debate about maybe finding a number one power back for the A&M running back room?
Well, let me say a couple of things. So I'm trying to find, I'm not seeing it here. I was looking at some stats because I want to look at SEC running back stats and compare, because Ruben Owens last year led the team in rushing. He had over 600 yards rushing. I'm trying to see how that compares. But Ahmad Hardy was just ridiculous, right? Like he's not that level of guy, but they haven't had that level of guy even when I think Le'Veon was one of the top backs in all of college football, but he wasn't putting up those kind of numbers, right? But in my opinion, Ruben Owens has moments of being that back. And if he puts it together, and I know the word if in this season, I think he is that guy. Now, we have other dudes on that roster that can take a huge step. We had one in this studio not long ago, Jamarian Morrow, who I think is going to have a breakout season. People sleep on Ruben because he missed an entire year and because the way last season ended, he didn't have his best couple of games towards the end of the year. The Texas game kept on falling, right, with opportunities there. But the guy had some pretty big games as well. So I think Ruben can be if you team up Ruben, and there is going to be a team up, but you team up Ruben with Jamarian, and then one of these freshmen emerge, and I think they will emerge, right? Then you're talking about a very good running back room. And let's not forget that the passing game or the running game in today's world can be used in the passing game. Screens to your running backs are essentially running the ball in just a different way. Marcel gives you an added dynamic in that running game room. So last year, Ruben averaged 5.5 yards per carry. I think that's pretty good.
I think that's pretty good too. I mean, I do want to
Ahmad
say
Hardy last year was 6.5. Nate Frazier, who was second, 5.5. Just for context.
Last year I watched the spring game in 2025, and somebody that caught my eye was Jamarian Morrow. He had a huge break. I think he had a touchdown in that game. He really stood out to me. And then this past season, he had flashes of being a really good third running back to go to. And then Le'Veon Moss got injured, and he was a good person to go to. So I agree with you that I think this year he could have a really great standout year.
Look, I'm just going to read you stats. You guys do what you want with stats. Here are some of the top running backs in the league. Ahmad Hardy was on a different level than everybody. 1,600 yards, averaged 6.5 yards per carry. Kawan Lacey. We all agree that Kawan Lacey is an excellent running back, right? Like top tier running back. Averaged 5.1 yards per carry. I think I said Ruben averaged, 5.3? 5.4. Okay, so there you go. Another one, Jaden Ball, 1,200 yards, 5.3 yards per carry. Deshaun Bishop, 5.9 yards per carry. So Jeremiah Cobb, 5.5 yards per carry. So Ruben was in that world, also sharing with Le'Veon for a big part of it, or for the early part, and Jamarian. All right, we'll hit a break. We will come back with a little bit more. Jason Howell next on TexAgs Live. And we are back. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio, and it is now time for Recruiting Country, brought to you by American Momentum Bank. American Momentum Bank is the only privately owned bank headquartered in Bryan College Station. They're committed to helping our community prosper, offering you a wide array of personal and business banking solutions specifically designed to help build financial success with confidence and momentum on your side. With that, we go to Jason Howell. Mr. Howell, how are you?
Fantastic. It's a great day.
You're always in a good mood.
I try to be. Even sometimes that's one thing you can control.
Okay.
How you're going to approach things. You may not always feel it, but yeah, if you dive in with a good attitude, you can make positivity happen.
So, how do you train yourself to do that, Jason? I'm just curious, when you're stub your toe or things are, Bronny upsets you with something in the recruiting department, which I know happens all the time. How do you change your disposition and not allow it to consume you? What is your technique?
I've always been one of those guys. I can burn real hot and then it's over.
Okay.
Get it out and be done with it and then move on. That's kind of where I go with that. But I don't know. It's just always been my frame of mind to, hey, if you're gonna do it, go at it 100%. And I just trying to approach things the way I'd want to be approached, and I lead with the smile, soften up whoever, and kind of go from there.
All right. Jason, let's get into some of the news of the day. Today, we should find out about Jaden Upshaw.
Yeah, he's set to announce a commitment decision between Alabama, Florida, Miami, and Texas A&M at 5 p.m. Central Time. And definitely be tuned in. He's coming off a Texas A&M unofficial visit. It's his first visit since the fall. But there's a lot of reason for A&M optimism as he gears up for his announcement. Number one, he's coming off a visit. He made A&M his last visit before he had his decision. So I think that's something to look at as a positive for A&M. He has several connections, both already on the team. I know Aaron Gregory. I mentioned it last week. He roomed with Aaron at the All-American Bowl, and they have a history that goes back to their travel ball days and youth football. And I know Jace Johnson and shoot, A&M had A&M was doing their best to close the door this weekend. We'll see what happens tonight, but you had several of those Georgia commits in town this weekend with Jace Johnson and Elijah Patman, and I don't think Dorsey was actually there when Upshaw was in town, but you had that Georgia contingent in town, as well as him being able to see Aaron and see a lot of those Georgia guys on campus going through spring ball. I'm sure that had to help, and of course when you have Trooper Taylor and Holman Wiggins leading the way. That's a tough duo to beat. Those guys can recruit with the best of them, and what A&M showed on offense last year. They've made themselves a real attractive place for receivers. So we'll see what happens, but tough competition there. And he's been visiting all of these schools leading up to his announcement. But I think A&M's really put themselves in a strong position as we head into tonight.
Well, Jason, it's been very busy for most programs, but especially A&M with visits recently. Just kind of help us understand where we are and how those visits have gone.
Yeah, so this last weekend was another big weekend. And everybody does this, like you said, but A&M's done a really good job of getting top prospects on campus. And this was another home run effort by the recruiting staff and the coaches. I mean, you had Upshaw, you had Eric McFarland returning for the second time in as many weeks. Another big time target at receiver. You had a couple top tight end targets. One of my new favorites in this 27 class is this Achilles Reyna kid out of Seattle, Washington. His dad played college ball and with the 49ers for a little bit, but he didn't play football. His parents wouldn't let him play football until this last year. He's always been an athlete, swimmer, basketball player, lacrosse, but he's never played football until this fall. And you can think a transfer from one high school to another, and the transfer rules that limited his eligibility in basketball season to allowing him to get on the football field this year. And he has blown up, 6'7", 240 pounds. He played mainly edge for Rainier Beach because they had a pretty big time tight end out there. But A&M has offered him as a tight end. I think they're the only school so far, but multi-sport standout. A&M's the only school to offer him at tight end, and he's seen his offer list blow up. Yeah, tons of guys. A couple, Dylan Mitchell in the 28 class, Armani Edwards, two of the top 28s in the state in 2028. So they had a loaded list as well as several out-of-state guys, top national recruits, and again, just a home run effort, man. A lot of positivity, a lot of talk about the culture of the program and the direction that they see things going. One new offer goes out to Jaden Thompson out of Lucas Lovejoy up here in the DFW area. A big talent in the 28 class. And but yeah, these weekends, they help lay that foundation, especially with as we get into the more pressing weeks and months with decision times coming up for a lot of these guys.
Jason, there's some other decision dates coming up, right? So we're seeing a bunch more over the next. I mean, this is the time of year where we'll get a lot. And I think you said it, if not last week, the week prior, that like this class could be pretty close to not completely complete, but pretty close by July, right? Like you're going to have, like you should know a big portion of this class. You already know a lot of it.
Yeah, I would say by mid to late July, you're going to have 98% of your class in the boat. So I think Caden Henderson talked about maybe it was a July 3rd announcement date, and he's got A&M in his top schools. We're talking about a 5-star type linebacker from Tampa, Florida, there with, I think LSU's coming on strong, but he's got Notre Dame, Ohio State, Miami up there, pretty high on his list as well, as the Aggies. And yeah, you've got a lot of these guys that are going to be making their decisions, as they take official visits in June, late May, and into July. And like I said, yeah, you're going to see a lot of this group in the boat, and what A&M's done to position themselves with several national top talents. I want to say, I mentioned it last week about, I think there's 41 5 stars over the entire ranking industry, and A&M is involved with 20 some odd of that group. So half of them, they're a legitimate contender for. And in many cases, they are a strong contender for them. So I think that says a lot about where things can go. And then you look at already having 3 of those type of guys in the boat with, guys like Kamari Dorsey, Zyron Forstall, and depending on who you ask, Raylan Henry and Jaquan Snell, also way up there. So, it's already a stellar group, and you have laid the foundation to really build on that moving forward.
So kind of lay out to me the next few commitment dates that I need to be paying attention to.
Well, I think the next ones that are known are more late June, okay. July. So we still got some time, and you could see that change. A lot of these guys, they're getting tired of making some of these visits, believe it or not. They're getting tired of eating steak and being wined and dined and but some of them want to stay home for a weekend, or they want to go be with their high school team and things like that. So you are starting to see some of these guys go, you know what? I know what I want to do. Let's lock it in. So you could see some of that change. But right now, I think the next ones that you're looking at that have dates are in July. But we'll see some of that change. We'll see some of these guys start to set dates, and you'll see some May and June announcements come, and possibly even some more April as well. But yeah, I mean, I'd keep an eye on. There's so many guys to mention. A&M's in such a great spot for, but you got Eric McFarland out there, Albert Simeon, Kennedy Brown out there. You've got a number of guys that you definitely want to keep an eye on and see what happens over the course of the next several months. Things are always fluid with recruiting.
And they're still in the mix, or at least I think they're still talking to Jaden Bryant, the LSU commit, correct?
Yeah, he was in town this weekend. You're talking to another guy who's regarded 5-star by some, and definitely a top 50 type prospect, and committed to LSU at the Under Armour game in January. But one thing he's done is he's been a frequent visitor to A&M. He visited in the fall. He returned this weekend for an unofficial visit. I know Miami's in the mix there. A&M, of course, LSU has the commitment. Right now, it's going to take some work, but he continues to look, and that's all you can ask for right now is have him keep an eye on the Aggies and see what happens. And who knows, maybe you pull off a flip. There's obviously interest there. There's a relationship there. And, the Aggies continue to work on it, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, definitely another top target there at the edge position. You've already got 2 there with Caden McCarty and Forstall. And then you're looking at, some of those guys that, bring a little more heftiness to them and can, on the other side there that can be more hand in the dirt, defensive end types as, and also come off the edge as opposed to that more outside linebacker dropping the coverage guy. You know what I mean?
Jason, I've been blown away with A&M's transfers that they've brought in that I've gotten the chance to talk to, from being a culture fit, from just being just respectful young men. And I guess it's an unfair question to ask, but I would assume that they're looking for that same kind of player when it comes to the high school ranks. Look, not everybody's the same. I recognize that. But is there a certain type? Because people are always going to point back to that one recruiting class that, had some really great dudes in there too, right? Like really great. But like, how much of that is part of their evaluation process?
It's a huge part, and I think a lot of that goes back to that 22 class. And because let me say, there were some high character guys in that class, and I think one of the things that A&M is going to do is, you never know 100%, but you get guys on campus, you get them around the program, everybody knows the deal. This is the culture we have. This is what we're doing, and this is the standard we're setting. And that's one thing that Elko has done a great job of. And I look back at kind of like the Patriots back in the day, where you had Brady, and then they weren't all choir boys. you had some guys in there. Gronkowski. I mean, that guy was a known party guy, but when he was on the field, and in the locker room, he knew he had to handle business, right? Or you had Randy Moss, who'd been a hothead, a noted, character, issue guy throughout his career. He had his problems, and and he comes into the locker room and assimilates, and jumps right into the culture, and it wasn't a problem. And so when you have the standard, you can grab a guy or two here that you may have some that may be on the fence on some of that, but you definitely have to have that standard, and I think that's something that Elko and the staff have done, and it's a big priority with a lot of these guys moving forward. And like I said, they're not all going to be choir boys. Kamari Dorsey is one of my favorites. Jaquan Snell. These are guys that are high-end prospects that also are very much that standard. And when you have guys like that setting a tone, it's hard for another talented athlete to go, oh, I don't have to do this. I'm 5-star McGee over here. I don't have to follow all the rules. But when you have everybody else, including former 5-stars and current stars and starters, leading the way and setting the tone, it clears up a lot of those issues.
Jason, I know we're only doing one segment today. I do want to follow that up with spring game this weekend and what to expect from a recruiting standpoint. Is this still a huge weekend from a recruiting point of view, like it used to be? Because I feel like there's so many things happening all spring.
I'll say this. It used to be, this was like the big blowout Super Bowl weekend of spring, and you may have a few top recruits in town throughout. But now, to say it's just another recruiting weekend is not doing it justice. Because every recruiting weekend they've had this spring has been huge. They've had top national recruits and 27 all the way down. They're going to have Jaquan Snell back in town this weekend. They're going to have Caden. They're going to have Caden back in town this weekend. Caden Scott. They're going to have all these guys commits. I guarantee you they're going to have some high level top recruits in town as well. So it's definitely going to be something to watch, but it is not the big blowout weekend. Some of these other weekends, the prospects get a chance to really sit down and see the meetings and dive into practice and things like that. Where this weekend, it's not as much of that. It's more for the fans. Now they can be involved behind the scenes and see some of that and be around the coaches and all that, but it's not a typical practice. And I think that's where there's been less emphasis on making it big blowout Super Bowl weekend and more about making it, hey, we're getting big guys in week out every day. So we're going to continue that, but it's not the blowout that it used to be in those terms, but it'll be special.
Jason, great job as always, buddy. Appreciate your time.
Anytime. Always appreciate you.
That is Jason Howell on the Buc-ee's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with a little mo. In Texas, your HVAC system isn't a luxury, it's a necessity, and when you need service, it matters who you call. Daily Company is a locally owned and operated company that takes real pride in serving this great community of Bryan College Station. Their HVAC department provides comprehensive service, including repair, maintenance, and full system installation. So whether your AC stops working in the middle of the summer or your heater needs attention during a cold streak, their licensed technicians are ready to help. It never happens at the right time. And their team works with all the major brands, from Lennox to Trane to Goodman to Rheem to Honeywell to Daikin to Amana. You name it, they take care of it all. And at Daily Company, they stand behind their work, and they treat everyone's home like it's their very own. Call Daily Company now at 979-2060-2020. That's 979-260-2020. Stay comfortable year-round with a local company that you can trust, the Daily Company. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. It's time for Around the Association. My good friend Scott Walker, class of 90, vice president from the Association of Former Students, and Garrett Thompson, class of 26, external relations coordinator, student muster committee. What's up?
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm well. How are you, sir?
Wonderful. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. So I told you I was going to brag about you guys. So my nephew Mason Nuño got his Aggie ring last week. So I went through the process with my brother and his family. And I thought, you guys had explained it, a great job explaining it, but I was like, this is going to be chaotic. There's 1 million people, everyone's taking pictures. It was so easy. It felt like, imagine going to Disney World and having the fast pass and not having to talk to people. Like, I spoke to you, but it was just choom, 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 choom. Howdy, how are you? And it was, hey, I'm so proud of you. Shake hand, it was so easy and efficient. You guys should be very proud.
Yeah, we have an incredible staff, our events team, campus programs team, the Aggie Ring team, and it's all hands on deck. Everybody in the building has to pull together, and we bring in a couple hundred volunteers as well, because 70,000 people coming through our building in 2 days, we can't handle that on our own, so we depend on volunteers.
I can't answer this question. I'm sure you can give me a little bit more, but when did it, it was always cool to get your Aggie rings. It's always been amazing. But at what point did it become this?
So the first Aggie Ring Day was in 2000, the year Porter Garner became our CEO.
Okay, so the year after I left.
Right. And that's right. And so I didn't have a ring day, you didn't have a ring day. But Porter always felt, he had already been at the association for 20 years by that point, 19. And he always felt that the day that you get your ring ought to be a day of celebration commensurate with the achievement itself.
Right.
It's a really big deal, and it should be treated like a really big deal. So he created the first Aggie Ring Day. Now, it's changed a lot in 26 years. It's grown a lot, obviously.
Well, let's get to it, because muster's coming up, and I know you all have big plans.
For sure. Talk about the ring and muster. I think those are the two traditions more than anything else that set Texas A&M and Texas Aggies off from the rest of the world. Aggie muster, of course, our most sacred tradition every April 21st. The one tradition that every Aggie is going to participate in, whether they're a 2%er or not. Somebody's going to call your name, and somebody's going to say here for you when your day comes. So we'll kick it off bright and early, sunrise, on the 21st at the Clayton W. Williams Jr. Alumni Center with the worldwide muster roll call. We will call every name on the list on the roll call this year. We're looking at a little over 2,700 names, which are, first time we did this in 2018, I think we had 1,600 names. And so obviously the size of the former student population continues to grow, and so the number of names continues to grow. So we'll bring in dozens of volunteers, and we will read those names and say here for every person on that roll. Take us about 4 hours. You can watch it live, tx.ag/muster live, and we will record it and post it online afterwards. So if somebody can't watch it live, but they want to hear us say somebody's name, they can do so.
And Garrett, I want to talk to you about student muster. A lot of events going on. Why don't you start it off with the flag raising ceremony?
Yes, sir. So on April 21st, the day of muster, we're going to start with the flag raising ceremony, and that officially starts at sunrise, so somewhere around 6:50, 7 a.m. And the whole corps is going to be there, and it's really special for the reunion class, the class of 76, which is A&M Centennial class, and they are some bought-in Aggies, and so we're expecting a lot of them to show up for the sunrise flag raising ceremony, and so that starts the day. And then shortly after that, around 10 midday, the reflections display is going to close. So people should head on over to the MSC and really get to go check that out. I've gotten to just walk around already because it's open this week every day from 7 a.m. until midnight. And so just getting to walk around and look at the little pieces of memorabilia, and they're like little keyholes into these people's lives. And so it's incredibly powerful, and it's brought me to tears multiple times this week already, just getting to walk around and look at these people's things. And so that is open right now, but is also open for the beginning part of the day on the 21st. And then after that at 11 in the Grand Lawn at Aggie Park, we have our camaraderie class barbecue. And so that's really cool because, again, the class of 76 is all going to be there. And so it's a great time to get to talk to them, get some food, and just get to talk about old Ags and good bull. And so anyways, and then at the end of the day, we have our actual muster ceremony, and that the doors open at 5, and then the actual ceremony starts at 7. And so I would recommend getting there early. We are hoping that it's going to be really full, and so grab a seat because it's first come, first serve. And I'm really excited for this year's ceremony.
Tell me a little of your story. How'd you get involved? How'd you end up at A&M?
Yeah, so I'm a 4th generation Aggie, and so there's we bleed maroon,
Yeah.
and so always knew that this is where I was going to end up. But yeah, so I got here my freshman year, and this is my senior year now. And I was on the phone with my mom in August, and she was talking about really like her time at A&M, and I was talking about my time at A&M. We were talking about what senior year was going to look like, and she said, "Garrett, my 2 biggest regrets were that I didn't do fish camp and that I didn't do muster." So I was like, you know what? I haven't gotten to do either one of those. I can't do fish camp. I'm going to go out for muster. And getting to do it has been probably one of the most impactful things I've gotten to do at Texas A&M. The tradition is so powerful and so moving. And Scott was talking about it earlier, but whether you remember muster or not, muster is going to remember you. And so someday you and my name's going to be called. And so it's just a really powerful tradition. And I'm really happy to get to be a part of it.
By the way, you can watch the live stream at tx.ag/muster live or watch on the live stream on KAMU's YouTube channel. And more information, you can go to muster.tamu.edu or follow them on social media. Scott, there's other musters going on, some in town, some all over the place.
All over the place. For us, Muster Day actually starts the afternoon of the 20th because that's sunrise in Australia and on the 21st. And we've got 2 clubs there that do musters. And so, then it's Taiwan, Japan, and all the way around the world. One of the biggest outside of Reed Arena is the Brazos County A&M Club muster. They're at the Brazos County Expo this year. Doors open at 6. Their speaker is Porter Garner, CEO of the Association of Former Students, who has recently announced that this is his last year. He's retiring at the end of the year. So this won't be his last muster speech, but it'll be the last time he speaks as the CEO. bcamc.org for more information about that specific muster. And then we know of just shy of 250 other musters that we know of going on around the world. There are certainly some that we don't know about. We provide support to the groups, the volunteers who put these musters on. We provide audio, video support and postcards. We also, of course, manage the list. Like I said, 2,700 names this year. We have, as of this morning, we had a little over 631,000 former students of Texas A&M. And here's the even more startling number, is that of those 631,000, 91% of them are still alive.
Wow.
Just because of the demographics of A&M enrollment, it's all been in the last, 50 years, basically. That the classes got really big. So we're starting to see longer lists, more names to manage, more names to call. And it doesn't happen without people stepping up. Traditions like this don't just perpetuate themselves. There has to be people like you who say, I'm going to step up and make sure that this continues. And people all around the world, nobody's getting paid at those 250 locations around the world. They're doing it because they love Texas A&M and Texas Aggies. So thank you for what you're doing, your whole committee, and all the people around the world who are going to make this happen on the 21st.
We had retired General John Sylvester in studio yesterday, and he talked about doing muster outside of a tank during the Gulf War. So it just tells you how it impacts everybody in every situation. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it, and really appreciate what you do for us, man.
Yes, thank you.
All right, we'll hit a break here. We'll come back with Kendall Rogers, talk a little Aggie baseball on TexAgs Live. I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal, or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar, I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going? You use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst. And we're back. It is TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. We should be talking some Aggie baseball and some SEC baseball with Kendall Rogers here momentarily. We just don't have him quite yet. So what we'll do is we'll go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center, and we'll tap dance for a minute or two as we figure out what's going on with Kendall. Kayla Gaither, give us something good.
Well, let's talk a little baseball because obviously everybody knows that we had a great weekend against Texas last weekend. This weekend, we're going into Baton Rouge to face Louisiana State University, who for being national champions, their season has not lived up to the national championship name, in my opinion. They've lost some midweek games. If I look at their schedule, and let me pull it up really fast, they've lost some surprising SEC games.
Can I pause you for a minute?
Of course.
None of that means anything.
And that's what my point was going to be.
Because it's Baton freaking Rouge.
It's Baton Rouge. And
it's the SEC, brother.
It's the SEC. So
not that you're a brother, but I'm just saying that's the line.
Despite everything that LSU has gone through this year, it is still hard to go into Baton Rouge and win a baseball game, win a football game. We saw Aggie football go in and win a football game. Can the Aggies go in and win a baseball game? Maybe win a series, maybe sweep a series. We'll have to see.
We'll have to see. So Kendall, I don't know, broke his phone or something. We're gonna have to wait and see. I'm going to continue to say what I say that's Captain Obvious, but I think with this team, it really matters.
Mm-hmm.
If you get, and Nick, help me out here, you get pretty good pitching. I'm not talking elite, all right? Not everybody's got to be Johnny Elite. I gave him the name Johnny, all right? But if you get pretty good pitching, and what is pretty good pitching, Nick? Would we agree that if Sadeo goes 5.5 innings, 5 1/3, and gives up 5 or 6 runs, I'd prefer less. I would really prefer less.
Say 4 to 5.
4 to 5. There you go. Yeah,
That's
4 to 5.
Not 5 plus.
Definitely
That's
not
when
6
it
or
gets
7.
Sideways.
But 4 or 5. With this offense, on most given nights, they're going to give you 8 to 11 runs, right? Like, I mean,
it feels that way, yeah.
So and obviously the relievers, the pen has to do a great job. But I think we're at a point where this offense can carry this team if you get pretty good pitching. If you get really bad pitching, if you get what Texas ended up having in the first inning against A&M, right, in Saturday's contest, then no, you're not going to win games, right? Like, and A&M has unfortunately oftentimes struggled on Friday nights on the road, and they've had to play catch up. I just think the way this offense, and this is Captain Johnny Obvious here, but if the pitching just does enough, then I like A&M's chances to win a series. And I hate saying steal a game, but you're going to LSU. It is hard to play there. We know that. It is hard to win on the road in the SEC in general. Don't get swept on the road. Win a game. Give yourself a chance to win a series. To me, that's the bottom line.
Well, if the expectations in the SEC are to win your home series, right, you got one to make up for in Georgia. So if you can go steal this one, and it would be a stolen series win, I think. No, I take that back because A&M's top 10 team, LSU's unranked. But, I mean, again, it's going on the road in the SEC. So if you win a series, you're feeling pretty good.
Yeah. Now, if they end up winning this series, right, now we're really having some serious conversations.
Well, the latest D1Baseball Field of 64 projections has A&M as a host. So they're in that conversation already, I think, if that's where you were going.
Yeah, they're in the conversation, but I think it legitimizes that conversation. Even it strengthens the point. What do they say? You got to get about, 15, 16 wins in conference to be able to be a national seed, right? To be able to host a regional. They're at 9 in the conference right now. You win 1, you're at 10. You have, 6 more to go with, a few more series in the can coming ahead. You win 2, you're right at 11. And then if you look at the rest of their schedule, and there are still some difficult, like, again, every week in the SEC is going to be difficult, but you look at the rest of their schedule, you get Mississippi State at home. I should probably not jump ahead too far, but okay, so you've got the LSU series. You got to go on the road at Florida. So these next 2 are these are dangerous series going on the road. If you can take care of business against Auburn, win a series, take care of business, win a game or 2 on the road, again, we're talking about a team that could be potentially a top 10 team. I'm jumping way ahead more than I should based on how we felt maybe 2 weeks ago. But that's the position that A&M has put themselves in. They have a little bit of grace that if they drop a series, they're not too far back from their projections. And if they take care of business, now we're talking about a team that could potentially finish in the top 10. So to me, Nick, it all boils down to Friday nights and getting pretty good pitching.
Yeah, and we'll see in part 2 of the change in the rotation, right? Sadeo, again, he didn't move off his Friday spot, but you go Sadeo, Aiden Sims, and I like the fact that if you steal game 1 on Friday or win game 1 on Friday, if you're playing here at home, you got a chance to win the series with arguably your best starter, not arguably, statistically your best starter this year. And then, we heard Bronny talk a little bit about it earlier this week and what that does with Weston Moss probably getting the start on Sunday. I guess they were talking about that on the B team. I heard them, but I I like where they're at. I really do. And I think pitching trending in the right direction too.
Yeah. So DWBTTS, that's a lot of letters, says on the YouTube page, he's a big supporter of the show. Appreciate you, DW. He says, if we finish 8-7, the last 15 games, that would put A&M at 17-12 in the SEC. Go 3-3 on the road, then finish 5-4. 17 wins in the SEC, you're absolutely hosting. You're feeling very good about where you are. But I want more. Because, I'm selfish.
Well, and we can't overlook any midweek matchup as well. A&M is going to play UTSA. They were previously ranked. They've had some pretty good wins. So the rest of the schedule will really tell what this team could look like going into the postseason. I think A&M can steal a series against LSU. It is going to be hard. They play Ole Miss in the back half going into the postseason as well. Ole Miss just swept LSU. So there's no doubt that this schedule is going to be tough, but I think the baseball team is really trending in the right direction. If we look back at the Oklahoma series on the road, that was a tough series, but A&M has really bounced back and the pitching has really elevated. So I think if we are able to steal a series at LSU, A&M will be trending in a very favorable direction.
All right, we got maybe like 3 minutes for Kendall Rogers. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our buddy Kendall Rogers, what's up, man? D1Baseball.
No, I'm doing well. Sorry about that.
All good.
How's it going? A little bit of a busy weekend in Aggieland.
Yeah, so all right, let's just get your takeaway from the master class that Coach Early and the Ags put on the Longhorns this past weekend.
Yeah, I think we talked about it last week, but I really felt like for A&M to win that series, they needed to get some better pitching performances. That was first and foremost something we talked about. And also, I think we mentioned, getting the crowd behind you from the start. And I felt like the atmosphere on Friday was probably about as good as I've ever seen at A&M, which says a lot considering some of the big games they had there. It reminded me a lot of that second super regional game against Oregon, just in terms of the intensity. And then the other thing is the pitching performances. Clayton Freshcore in the first game, Aiden Sims, the job the bullpen did at the end with Gavin Lyons. So now, if you're A&M, your offense is clicking on all cylinders. And the other thing I really liked about the offense, Nuño, is the fact that they worked a lot of counts. You don't see Texas pitching kind of get worked a little bit like that early in the game very often, but they were patient. They had some big at-bats, and they were able to get it done. So overall, I don't think A&M played as possibly well as they can, and they still came away, with a 2-0 series win over Texas.
Kendall, look, I recognize there's still a huge road ahead, and this weekend could be a step in the wrong direction if you go to Baton Rouge and get beat up. That being said, what did this weekend do for national perception of the Aggie baseball program and Michael Early himself?
Yeah, I think it was huge in both regards. I think from a national perception, I think we all knew A&M was improved. There's no doubt about that. But it's one thing to go, do what they've done so far, but then go do it against a team like Texas, where frankly, let's be really honest here. Like, there was a lot more pressure on A&M to perform over the weekend than Texas. I feel like Texas probably went in that, at least from a player perspective, playing with house money. And I thought A&M, with all the emotions, the pressure, came out and played really well. And I think the other thing too, I think it actually is pretty big for Mike Early. I think if you're A&M and you go in that series, and let's just say Texas pushes A&M around all weekend, I do think the narrative nationally on Early, whether it's fair or not, perception is reality. I think the narrative on that probably is a little different. So I think what you saw, is a well-coached team that was ready mentally, ready emotionally, and played really good baseball. So I thought it looked really good for him just in kind of the long term of the season. I feel really good about this team at this point with the way they played over the weekend, about their longevity, the remainder of the season.
All right, what are your thoughts heading into Baton Rouge, a team that has obviously not hit the marks but can certainly bloody you if they need? Well, when they're at their best, they can beat anybody.
They can. They're just incredibly inconsistent. And I will say this. My key for this is the same as what the key would have been for Texas last weekend. Get the crowd out of it. I think for A&M, the only way I think they lose this series with the way LSU is playing right now is if they allow the box to become a factor. And when that happens, LSU's a different team. And so I think for A&M, for Mike Early, you're preaching, hey, let's get on these guys early, get the fans, kind of hemming and hawing over there, upset at their own team. and let's get a series victory. But if you get late in the game, you get 8th and 9th inning, and LSU's in it, especially against A&M, it's going to get rowdy in there. So I think for me, it's just play the way you played last weekend and do your best to kind of keep the LSU crowd out of it.
Kendall, we appreciate you, buddy. Talk to you soon.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Kendall Rogers there on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll find out some cool stuff from Sid and Kaylee on the other side. Milliken Reserve Farm-to-Table Community in College Station. They got homes, they got trails, they got farms. They got wide open spaces with a mission to build a healthy community around nature. 2,600 acres of open space. They've got 30 miles of trails. They've got homes. They got it all. They want to connect families to nature and to each other. When you go there, go throw the ball with your kid, right? Go be a dad and go do it outdoors. It's fun. Go climb trees. Just be in the outdoors and enjoy it. And they can just do so much there. You can go hiking, you can go biking, canoeing, kayaking, equestrian trails, evening yoga, summer camps, music festivals, farmer markets, and farm tours. You can learn more at millikenreserve.com. That website is millikenreserve.com. Everyone, David Nuño here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever. And also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group. And they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports. And they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em. All right, we're back here on the program. In case you missed it, got Sydney and Kaylee in studio to chit-chat about things that I absolutely would miss or did miss.
You probably did.
Yeah? What did I miss?
So in case you missed it, the College Football Playoff changed their logo after 12 years. The logo is now brighter, the name is abbreviated, and the football outline is thicker.
I don't think I would have noticed that, even if the press release, like, I don't see the difference.
The gold's a different color. And the abbreviation.
Does anybody, do you see it?
Saw it when it came out.
Do you see it, Nick? No, he doesn't see it.
Change was subtle.
Yeah. Okay. I like it.
Like
as long as we make it, I like it. I like it a lot more when we make it.
I like the abbreviation.
Yeah. So you're saying, okay, so it said College Football Playoff. Yeah, I'm all in. CFP. Let's go. That's what we call it. What else?
Also, in case you missed it, so after Sunday's game got canceled, when Texas was leaving, walking out of the locker room, there was a video recorded of Schloss walking out, looking at his phone, and it appears that he has A&M as his lock screen. This was posted on Twitter,
and people were like clowning him for still having it as his lock screen, but it is just Michael Early calling him. As you can see, like very closely, it says Early. So that's not his lock screen. It's his contact photo for Early.
Did you zoom in or did people do it for you? Like
I totally thought it was his lock screen, but then
God, that would be the best if it was.
I think Bronny said it was Early calling him. So that's how I knew.
Do you guys put pictures on your...
For my mom and dad, but that's it.
Yeah.
Too much work.
But hold on. But you could upload a picture for yourself that pops up in other people's, right?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, so that's probably... I don't think he's like, I got to put an A&M logo for...
Yeah, wait, that's
hey,
true.
This is my friend Michael Early. Let me put a logo here. Let me Photoshop it. Okay, gotcha.
And
what
then
else?
Last thing we have is Old Row Sports put out this tweet about Mississippi State's football budget. It seems crazy, but the tweet was implying that this is a lot of money, and the comments obviously show how this would never work.
Wait, that's not a joke? That's what really... I thought that was a joke. Don't they have to spend X amount? No, I think it's a joke. That's not real.
Well, the comments were saying that the amount was a joke. Someone said that wouldn't even get you a special teams unit. Someone said that's enough for a fourth stringer in a G5 conference. And people are claiming that Old Row Sports is just an Ole Miss fan account.
That can't be real. And so, Mississippi, according to AI Overview, a very reliable source, AI Overview is very good. It says, Mississippi State football faces a challenging NIL landscape with the Bulldog Initiative collecting with an estimated $6.48 million annual budget, placing it on the lower to middle range of the SEC.
That sounds a little bit better.
Yeah, I think they were just clowning fools.
Well, the comments were the best part.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, do you have any other comments you want to read? Anyone?
That O-line is going to look like it's from the Dollar Tree.
Yeah. There's some true pro colleges paying more to their team than that. See, you guys do bring in things that I would miss. I would have never found the CFP. Didn't see that in I did see the early, the Schloss thing, but I thought that was a joke. So that was real. All three were real. Very good job, ladies. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Tomorrow on the program, I don't have time to tell you, but Tori Espavola will be with, no, not Tori Espavola, Tori Vidalis. Espavola used to work for us. Anyway, we'll see you next time.